There are a lot of good videos on YouTube about police gear you need when working in the profession, but there are some things you do not need. So consider what I'm about to share with you. What's going on? It's Scott. I help to keep police officers alive and thriving. But since I worked in law enforcement for almost 15 years, I do like to talk to particularly newer officers as to what to expect and how to make your life easier so that you can be that much better of a police officer out there. And in this particular video, I want to tell you there's some things you do not need. You might think you do when it comes to gear. You don't. And the first thing is this. Stick-proof gloves. How could you say that? Hear me out. There are going to be cops that tell you to get these stick-proof, very expensive, black leather gloves. But here's the deal. Unless you train with them on the range, then heaven forbid you're in a deadly force situation. You've got those gloves on. It's not going to feel right, and it might affect your ability to shoot. In addition to the fact that you're under stress and it dramatically decreases your accuracy to begin with. I wore them when it was cold outside, just like directing traffic. But even responding to fights where I knew someone had been cut, or at least they told us someone had been cut, guess what? I put on just rubber gloves to protect my hands from blood. The next thing is extra crap on your duty belt. I'm talking about like glove holder. You don't need that. I put the gloves that were issued by the department in my back pocket. The glove holders weren't issued, and since they weren't issued, officers had to go and spend their own money to get that stuff. So yeah, you don't worry about it. Put the rubber gloves in your back pocket. Or some bought these glove clips, mainly for the stick-proof gloves, and they had their black leather gloves hanging out like, oh, look at me with my black leather gloves. I'll forget it. How could you say that? Put the rubber gloves in your back pocket. And another thing that I've noticed lately is these holders for the belt for 3 magazines for the handgun. What the heck? You have your 2 magazines and then you have the one in the gun. Just extra. And if the department doesn't issue it, why are you buying that kind of thing? Speaking about buying stuff, let's go on that tangent. Your department will more than likely issue you gear that you need. And you don't really have to go off the deep end buying other stuff. I still know plenty of officers who work active, and they are currently training other cops. And these newer cops are buying so much stuff to replace the gear that was issued to them. Chances are the gear will suffice. Now, if there's something that's completely shot, they shouldn't have been issuing it in the first place. But look, costs are up, and rookie cops don't make a lot of money. Why are you spending money on replacing gear that was issued to you? The next thing is, I don't necessarily agree with officers wearing every service ribbon they ever get during their career. I saw some officers, they had like 8 ribbons. I was like, okay, yeah, great for your department photo or awards ceremony. Yeah, sure, that looks fine. But out there on the street, that's just more stuff. And the criminals don't care if you have all those ribbons on. I know some are going to disagree with me, but at least consider it. Next thing, when it comes to saving money, you don't need the most expensive pair of boots. I used the Under Armour Val sets for years, and they served me perfectly fine because the department where I worked for a very long time gave $100 to every officer to get boots. And yeah, I had to pay $25 extra. But there were some officers walking around with $200+ boots, which means they were spending more of their own money. So once again, I say, you don't need the most expensive, flashy stuff so you can look all cool. It doesn't matter. You also don't need a very flashy, expensive pen. Just get some of these cheapos and they'll last you a long time. Or you don't need a fancy tactical, notebook. Just get one of these from your records office, if they have them. Hopefully they do. Now, there are going to be some that would agree with me in the saying of you don't need a shoulder mic. However, I used the shoulder mic because I just couldn't hear the radio when it was on my waist. The speaker up by my shoulder helped a lot, particularly in large crowds, having it down by the radio, and it was easier just to push the button and keep a hand free rather than keeping a hand occupied with the radio. But it's something for you to consider. Another thing to consider safety-wise with those shoulder mics is you might start looking and you take your eyes off a potential threat or people in a car on a traffic stop. You get my point. So always turn towards and speak in so you don't take your eyes off the person. But hey, when it comes down to it, it's just something to consider when it comes to not necessarily needing a shoulder mic. The next thing, and this is mainly for you men and women joining the profession and you're in your early 20s. Look, you're not making a lot of money and you need to financially prepare for a future ahead of you. You do not need the newest model Corvette or Dodge Challenger or whatever the case may be. The brand new souped up F-350 where your police paycheck is going into that thing so much, you're financially stressed out. But you're going to see officers that are driving these amazing vehicles and have this amazing stuff like the latest, biggest camper. And you're going to want to buy those material things, but you don't need them. I know that has nothing to do with police career. I've just seen way too many people I know who are in law enforcement go broke because they just wanted to keep up with the other person. If you're just now getting started in the career, be responsible financially. Well, since the original recording of the video, some friends of mine who still work in law enforcement brought some more things to my attention. One of them said that he notices a lot of newer officers in particular going out and buying these very custom thick winter jackets when a department already issues a good winter jacket. And then they'll have the patches sewn on. So you're already looking at a nice expensive jacket plus the money to go to the tailor to have the patches put on. That's a lot. And then other friends of mine pointed out gear such as, you're going to laugh at this, some of the rookies will go out and buy milk because they think when they get it exposed to pepper spray, that will help ease the burning sensation. Nope, doesn't work. And then AR-15 mag pouches on a patrol tac vest. The AR-15 is in the car, so there's no need to have that extra weight on with the AR-15 pouches and holding fully loaded magazines. I know this is a lot to consider. Any officer in training will listen to their FTOs and assess what works best for them and then carry on with their police career. This video is kind of the same thing. It's just something to consider. You don't have to listen to any of this. But if you want to save money and have less weight on your body during the shift because there's already enough weight on you with that uniform, then consider what I had to say. Take care of yourself and may God bless.